This is the Phoenix mind, where the fire refines, break the chains and rise to shine. Rise on the lead with heart, every end a brand new start. With Lisa Manzo, we transform, we ignite. This is the Phoenix mind.
Hi, I'm Lisa Manzo, your host of the Phoenix Mind podcast. And today I have a special guest. I'm excited for you to hear her story. I was like, wow, when I read it. So this is Nichole T. Compton. And Nichole is a powerhouse attorney, business architect, and visionary behind Prosperous Pivots, a high-impact advisory firm helping small and mid-sized businesses transform disruption into strategic opportunity. With nearly 2 decades of legal experience and dual advanced degrees in JD and MBA in entrepreneurship, Nichole is a trusted executive legal advisor known for translating complexity into clarity and legal structure into business success. She's also the founder of the Second Chair Legal pioneering legal tech company, revolutionizing how attorneys and I don't know what SMBs are, manage legal operations.
Small and medium-sized businesses. Sorry.
Thank you. And manage legal operations through intelligent systems and AI-powered support. Wow, you're very impressive. And Nichole is a celebrated media personality and seasoned television legal analyst. Nichole brings a dynamic voice to every stage and mic. She is a sought-after keynote speaker, workshop leader, and CLE presenter with a proven record of captivating audience from bar associations to conference seminars to corporate retreats. Through her charismatic storytelling and comprehensive legal expertise, Nichole empowers audiences to pivot with purpose, profit, and protection. Wow, that's very impressive. Nichole, welcome. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so excited too. I'm so excited because your story is very impressive. And please, to take 2 to 3 minutes and tell the audience your story so that they can relate to you.
Well, first of all, I always say I'm just Nikki. And so as you were reading that, I was like, I know that I probably sent that to her, but I'm just Nikki. My thing has always been, the things that I've gone through, I hope bless other people. And that no matter how high up I get, how many letters I get behind my name, I'm still me. And so I'm here in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. I always say that my body is here, but my heart resides in South Florida, in Palm Beach County. That's always been the place that I go when I need respite. But I'm the oldest of 8, a mother of 1, and a grandmother of 2 and a bonus, and I got 2 bonus kids. So that's what people normally hear about. But I'm also a former statistic. And so when you think about statistics, you think about all the, 9 out of 10 people are this, and 6 out of 5 people, 6 out of 10 people are that, or 5 out of 5 people. And usually statistics are the negatives. I chose early on to not be. I'm very stubborn because some people call it resilience. Or headstrong. I'm stubborn. That's the honest to God truth. So if you ever want me to not do or to do something, then tell me I cannot do it, because then I'm going to get it done. So early on, I was headstrong. Hit a bump in the road. I'm a former teen mom. At the age of 15, I was impregnated and had my son 2 days after my 16th birthday. I close my eyes when I say it, and I still stutter when I say it, because I don't want to only be known for that, but it has shaped a lot of who I've become. So I had my son 2 days after my 16th birthday. I was told essentially that I would be good to just graduate from high school. So I went from being an advanced honors student, doing well in school, to being told by people who had just been cheering me on that suddenly, a pregnancy meant that I was not going to have a future, or was going to have a very dim future. So if you tell me I can't do something, guess what's coming? So I ended up getting 2 full scholarships, 2 partial scholarships, taking my son to college, coming back to Kentucky, getting a job at a Fortune 500 company, and putting off going to get my master's and my law degree for a year. When that year was up, I started law school, went and got my master's in business administration with a focus of entrepreneurship and my law degree. So I had the choice. Do you want to do the law school graduation or the business school? And so the business school came and handed me the degree on the law schools. I was the only one that had 2 schools that were handing me a degree that day. But I was the one that even then shouldn't have made it. We were practicing our walk the day before graduation. But the day before graduation, we were practicing our walk for law school. And I remember asking the admissions counselor then, I was the only Black female in my entering class. And we was about 154 students. And so I was the only Black female, but here I wasn't even supposed to graduate from high school. And I wasn't at a tier 4 school. I was at a reputable school, and turned down even better, higher tiered schools to go there. And the admissions counselor told me that day that there were over 12,000 people that had applied for those 150 something spots. And so that was sobering. But that was just one instance of, word tenacity. And it really wasn't easy. Coming from being the oldest of 8, my parents weren't rich. My dad was an electrician at Ford's factory. My mom stayed at home, but always had her, like babysitting jobs and things like that, and got her degrees after I got mine. And so we didn't have. And, going to school with people who were mad because their dad didn't buy them the yacht that they wanted, or didn't. There was a conversation in the hallway one day, and they were like, well, I wanted that one, and he wouldn't get me that boat. And another one was like, I would be happy if they would just, they were mad. The other person was mad because her parents didn't pay her mortgage that month. And I was thinking, oh, the problems.
Take a violin for them, right?
No, it's like this. Yeah, it was this. I'm thinking, are you serious right now? Like, there were some days that I had to take my son. My son knew some of my law school professors. I had one, and he would give him writing assignments because some days I had to bring him with me. My first semester of law school, I was diagnosed with lupus, which is a terminal illness, like an autoimmune disease. And so it was bad. And I'm thinking, I'm working, taking care of this kid. I got the real problems, and you're mad because you didn't get the boat you wanted. So, but all of that came, the grime and the grit made me the diamond that I became. But it also helps me to not think less of to be able to be approachable, and to approach those who may be going through not so good situations, because I've been there. Been there, done that. So
yeah, it's so interesting because you said you're coachable, which is great. And I was not always coachable. Like now I
might not have been either.
And it's great to be open to other people's ideas and suggestions. And that was a skill I learned later on in life. But you seem to have gone through a lot. Like, you had a young child, you went to law school, and that's amazing. So what was your drive? Like, what were some of the tools that helped you? Was it because you had your son and you wanted to show him there was more out there? What was it for you?
I would say ego. Ego gets a bad rep, but part of it was ego. Part of it was my parents really instilled in us that education was important, that you treat people right, that it's not just about you, you're part of community. And so, I grew up in a Pentecostal apostolic church, like an evangelical, like we were at church, I felt like 10 days a week. But what you do affects somebody else, and what you go through can help somebody else. And at 16, I really wasn't thinking about, oh, I'm going to get on the other side of this and I'm going to help other people. For me, it was more of, even if you give up on me, I'm not going to give up on me, that I want better. So around that time, anytime I give a speech, I say it. So I'll say it now. My son probably is tired of hearing it. My grandson, I had been raising my grandson for the last 10 years, going on 11. And I know he's probably tired of me saying the same thing. But I would tell them, like, every moment of every second of every day, you can do something different. You can change, period. You can change your mind. You can change the direction you're going. You can change what's happening to you. You can change, period. And that was the time when I coined that. That was when I don't even remember where I got it, but that was the thing that I kept telling myself, that every moment of every second of every day, I can change. And if I mess up, oh, well, here comes another moment in another second, and I can do something different. And so I remember when I told my parents I was pregnant, and my mom was like, you wanted to go to college and travel the world, you'll be lucky to graduate now. And so she was upset. My dad locked himself in the bathroom and cried all night. I didn't know why he was in the bathroom. I just knew he was upset. The counselor, I was an advanced honors student, and the counselor told my parents to my face, we had a meeting, she's pregnant, she's a liability. And so we're going to unenroll her from this school and send her to the teenage parent program.
Oh.
All they wanted to do was to get you out of the door, like get you a GED, get you out of the door. And it felt horrible to feel like I had let so many people down. But then I was like, well, if I was great then why can't I still be great now? I think the other thing that helped is the swift kick in the butt from my parents at that point. Being that I'm the oldest of 8, we were all stair steps except for the younger 2 siblings. It's like 1 year apart for everybody. And then number 6 and 7, there's a 3-year gap, and 7 and 8, there's a 3-year gap. So my son is like 2.5 years younger than my baby sister. So another 3-year gap. And my mom told me, she's like, we had ours, we planned ours. This one's on you. The sucky part about it is, I always talk about I don't like to say that I was raped, because I don't ever want to take away from the women who were brutally raped and held at gunpoint or choked, but I was essentially impregnated against my will. And to have to take all the shame that went with that, and have all the people be disappointed and tell me that now you're never going to be anything. And when I had big dreams before, it lit something in me that I was like, not today. And I've always been a fighter, and I've always advocated for other people. At that moment, I had to advocate for myself.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. In the same breath, with all that happening, you gave your son such a gift to know that at any time he can change his life and do something different. And, I'm grateful to my dad, because at 40, he had to reinvent himself and find a new career because he couldn't do what he was doing any longer, and he did. So, which was cool, because when I became 40, I graduated from college with my master's degree. And I did that because my father, he didn't graduate from college, but he showed me that I can change careers at any time.
Ah.
And then I didn't like that career. So then I went back to school again. And now I'm a nurse. So at 51, so at 40, I became a teacher. And at 51, I became a nurse. And so, because it's possible, and that's just such a great gift that you have given your son and actually your siblings as well, because they watched you, this happen, and you didn't let it get in your way at all. So,
Yeah.
and it's,
It almost backfired. So I remember the girls at church, their moms wouldn't want them to sit next to me anymore because they thought that I was going to be a bad influence. My dad and my mom were really hard on me. I got a job. I got my second job. I went to school. I worked. I went to church. That was my life. And everything that my son got, I paid for it. Like the dad wasn't there. It was me. And so I made it look too easy. So when all of my siblings graduated top of their class, and when they went to college, I think everybody's freshman year, somebody ended up with a baby. And I remember we had a powwow at one point, and they were like, "You made it look too easy." I was like, I try to tell y'all. Once I went down that road, I try to make sure. But one, you never know who's watching. You never know who is taking note of your journey and how you go through it. Do you go through it angrily? Do you go through it gracefully? Do you make it to the other side? Is this the thing that you hit rock bottom and you never get back up? Like you never know who's watching you. But my sisters, when they said that I made it look easy, that wasn't my thought. When I graduated from high school, I took my son and we went away a few hours to Berea College, which is like it's like the number one liberal arts college in the South. Like it's been like that for decades. And so I went to a challenging college where I still worked and I still had, I took my son with me. And when I got there, I realized, wait a minute, if I can do this, all those girls at that school, they've been telling them that, oh, just get your GED. You'll be glad to just get out. So I went back to that principal and I asked her, I was like, look, can you call an assembly for everybody in the school? We need to have a conversation. And she said yes, which was great. So I think the first year they had me talk to just the seniors, and then they asked me to come back the next semester and talk to the whole school because I don't know if they felt comfortable in what I was going to say. I don't know what they were worried about, but I took that chance. And so I went and I told those girls, I was like, look, people may have given up on you, but a pregnant stomach and a baby doesn't make you dumb. And matter of fact, if anybody needs to go to college, it's you. You have a kid to take care of, and you can be this statistic where you can, have all the things that people talk about, or you can be this statistic where you have none of the things that you want to have in life. It's up to you. And there's money. Like you actually will get scholarships and things like that. You don't let this one moment change or keep you stagnant and change what you could have been or what you wanted to do, what your dreams were.
yeah, and that's beautiful because that's such a gift for people to understand that, yes, things happen that may be challenging or maybe struggles, but I bet your son is your greatest joy and you're so happy to have him in the same. No? Is he there?
No. These are some of the books that I've written.
Oh, let's talk.
This is his book. This is his book. I was a co-author. The other Nichole on there was his girlfriend at the time that ended up being his wife now. No, my son has put me through hell. You want to talk about overcoming some stuff. I love him. I do. I love him. I wish I could be like, oh, he is my greatest joy. He's my greatest hope. I love him with everything. I tell him he's my Achilles heel because I can be strong for everything. And when I see him struggle, it does something to me as a mother. It breaks me down. And I don't know, I worked through it because I don't know if that's like you overcame and you were successful at all these other things. But what about, why didn't it work on him? So my son took the other route. My
Oh,
son had like mental health issues. What I didn't know is my my baby brother, who is 6 years older than him, got him started trying drugs. By the time he was an adult, he was addicted to heroin.
oh wow.
And I have been raising my grandson for the last 10 years. We finally got where he's actually, I went to court and allowed him to get like joint temporary custody just because we're trying to try it out. But no, his book is The Power of Surrender, Defeating Addiction. So hands up, The Power of Surrender, Defeating Addiction.
You
He
surrender.
put surrender. Yep. Yeah. And so he put me through a lot. And the drugs were only one part of it, but just that was probably my eyes even twitching. The hardest part of anything that I've ever had to go through. I've gone through bankruptcy, I've gone through homelessness, I've gone through an attempted rape and the actual getting pregnant against my will, but also attempted rape. I've been through some things. I've been through some things, but nothing like the stuff that I've been through because of him. Yeah.
And it's so nice that you're still supporting him and you're rooting for him. Because that's such a beautiful thing that you're still rooting for him. You still have hope for him. And he wrote that book, and I'm sure that book is helping very many people, which
Well,
it's
the book came about because he thinks I can do everything. So he knows that I went to law school. He went to college with me, so he feels like he has a law degree and he's been to college. The dean at Berea, the undergrad, they actually gave him my diploma because I let him walk up on the stage with me. They gave him my diploma. I was like, wait a minute, I earned this. But he does have my fire in that when I see places that I can fix stuff or help people or try to uplift, and I want to. So when he was coming out of addiction, he was getting sober. They have like halfway houses that you go to where you can rent a room and all of that. And all of the ones that were close to where we were taking advantage of people. So they would make their rent really high. They would make it hard for them to keep their jobs. They would reintroduce them to drugs and things like that. And he was like, Mom, I want to start a sober living house. And I think he thought that I was going to be like, sure, son, I'm rich. Let me write you a check. And I told him, I said, no. I said, you know what we're going to do is we're going to have a fundraiser. If we do this book, you put all the proceeds to doing the house. And that way you got community involvement, you get your story out there. But it's also, you work for this and it's not mommy giving you anything. So,
then more pride in it because they actually work for something and there's something to be proud of. And it's like, and then when you have investors, you have to be accountable to them, and it's
oh yeah.
somebody else besides mom. So that was very smart of you. And I bet it wasn't easy.
No, he ended up not doing the house. He wanted to donate the money from the book that he had to, and so that's what they ended up doing. But just he can say, I'm a published author, and here's my story. And so I keep them, like I have it on my shelf because I keep them because I give them away because you kind of never know what someone's going through. And so the book is written from three different perspectives. It's written from his perspective and what his background story was. It's written from my now daughter-in-law and what her story was, which is two different worlds. And then mine, and the way that we wrote it is one portion of the book is speaking to the addict. One person is speaking to the family on how to support the addict, and the other chapters is for the community and people who may not know, because everybody knows somebody who's affected by addiction. You just may not know that that's what that was. Oh, they're sleepy all the time. Oh, they're never able to go here. And addiction looks like different things for different people. So yeah.
I like that because it does look like different things for different people, because then you have some of those people that are completely functional and can do everything and anything. And then behind the closed doors, they're overcome by their addiction.
Yeah.
And it's very true. You don't know what somebody's going through, and unless somebody lets you in, and most people don't.
I'm probably one of the rare. I hate. I like talking about everything else. I do. I like me on stage or on radio and TV on podcasts. Like I don't get stage fright. I'm always transparent. But I notice, especially growing up in a really strict Christian household, it's really easy, and especially for believers, to be like, oh no, my stuff doesn't stink and I've never done that. And I've been, life is great. And it's like, no, I'm going to tell you, I got it wrong this time. And I thought that one was right, but that one was totally wrong. And this is what happened. And, I try to bring the honesty and the transparency, which even in the day of social media, we don't really have, because everybody wants to show you the good side or what they wish their life was, and that's not helpful.
And I
What's
believe
helpful is to have someone who can go ahead.
I like telling my story because I want people to know what's out there. And I've said it before, like I've made posts on Facebook, but I wasn't that happy person, and I just like I was angry or I was sad, and I'm posting on Facebook because, and then at the end of when I'm in a bad mood or if I am sad, I'm saying, hey, just remember this will be past and tomorrow I'll be happy again.
Yeah, because every moment of every second of every day. The other thing, my mom hates my tattoo, and most people think it's henna, but I have a tattoo of a stargazer lily on my hand, which is my favorite flower. And there's a scripture that is St. Luke 12:22-34, just because I am a believer. And that scripture talks of, and then then the wording is, my happiness is ... The scripture talks about if God tends to and takes care of the lilies of the field and the birds, and from the biggest animals to the little, and all of those creatures function and they are provided for, then why do you worry? And so even in my worst time, this was after a really horrible divorce, and it was my reminder that my happiness is in my hand. So you're right. You could be sad today, and 2 seconds later, something happened, and then suddenly it's different. But part of it is a choice. Part of it is perspective. And that doesn't mean that bad stuff doesn't happen, or that, you're not like, oh, that sucked, but it's what you do with it. But that goes back to what I was saying. People, being able to change careers and even go back to school. That is not easy, to go back to school, after being out of school for a while. I watched my mom, so I'm speaking from watching her journey, and it was kind of like she was navigating foreign territory. But for you to be able to share that with other people, like you said, allows them to see.
Right. Like I tell people, I went to nursing school I started, it was a 1 year program. I did it. I started at 50. I graduated at 51, and I was drinking at the time, and I still did it. And because
Wow.
yeah, and I want people to know it. And I don't drink anymore. I gave it up. It's been over 7 years, and I needed to. It's like I wasn't like I would drink at night after work and stuff like that. I didn't drink all day long, so it wasn't it wasn't a day all day long drinker, but I drank.
Yeah.
And I did nursing school through that, and I was just like, that's kind of pretty amazing. And I was 51, and my memory wasn't what it was when I was in my 20s.
I was just thinking that means you're a really sharp cookie, because nursing school isn't easy. And like I was saying, being older student is not easy either. I had two sisters that dropped out of getting nursing degrees because they felt like they just couldn't. They was like, there's all these little teeny boppers.
God was good to me. Okay. I was the oldest one in the class, not surprising. And we would be in the computer lab, and this was great. The 20-year-olds are coming over to me and they're like, can you help me with this? I don't know how this works on the computer. And I'm like, I know more than you. And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm happy to help you. Let me help you. And then I am blessed as well because I had a teacher who understood the mind so well and how to study. And she gave a class, you know, you had to stay over to do it. And I stayed and I listened to her and I followed every direction that she told me on how to study so that I would remember, so I would do well in the class. And from that moment on, I can study anything and know how to do it. And I teach people, like
Ooh, yeah, I may have to take that class.
anybody who I come across who's in nursing school, I'm like, hey, do you want a couple of tips? And I tell them, and they're like, "Oh my God, I never thought of that." But and I'm blessed because my teacher taught me that, and it's been a wonderful journey. And I'm a great nurse. I'm a favorite nurse at the.
I can see that.
I am because I I tell the truth, and they respect that. And if I don't know, I said, "Let me find out for you." I don't know the answer, and I don't make up a story. I just want them to know that I'm in their corner, and it's good because, like, if I'm in the hallway, you have no idea how many times if not my patient will come up to me and ask me a question because they know I either have,
They can trust you. Mm-hmm.
and it's just because I want to help people, and that's what we're here for. And it sounds like you're doing an amazing job. So I know you're a lawyer, which is awesome, and then you help business owners. What tell me your joy that you have in your life. Let's shift a little
Oh,
bit.
well, my number one joy. So on my bio it says Nichole Compton, but I recently got married and he is amazing. I always say he's a so he's my joy. I feel like I'm giddy. I was always the one that like I didn't hug, don't touch me. You're like trauma response. Don't touch me. I want a hug. He comes around and I'm like, because he's so good to me. It's and night and day. Like he's that unicorn. I say he's my unicorn. And unicorns are the wonderful magical creatures who you've heard about and you heard that they exist in fairy tales, but you don't believe it until you meet one, and then you're like, oh, they're real. So I found a unicorn.
That's
And I say that I'm the one attorney that is running from the law jokingly. So I do have exciting stuff happening. I knew that I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was going to be a mogul. Even before I got pregnant, I was going to be a mogul and have businesses and travel the world. And I wanted to be a doctor. Before they had CSI Miami and all of those kind of shows, they had Quincy. And I was going to be a forensic pathologist. But I was going to be a business owner too. And I was going to travel the world. And, you know, I had my life set out for me. And so I always knew that I wanted to do something with entrepreneurship. So I've helped businesses throughout the years. I've stopped doing litigation and like family court and general private practice, and really have focused on helping small businesses and entrepreneurs. Most people get scared of the law because you say something about the law, and the first thing you think about is getting arrested, cops coming behind you, a judge with a, you know, but the law can actually be beneficial, and it's better to be ahead than behind. Right. I always tell people, if you win the lottery, call me. That is the time that you call the lawyer. You get a windfall. Huh?
I said before you go pick up the money.
Before, don't tell your mother, don't tell your brother, don't tell your best friend. You need to call your attorney and maybe your CPA, but definitely you're like, I'm going to guide you through this. But for me, business is fun. And the reason why business is fun is second chances. It's really about second chances. The clients that I had when I was doing criminal and family and immigration, not all were employable. You know, they really wanted to work and they were looking, and, you know, many of them had changed their lives, and things that they did when they were 20 and 25 was still haunting them. But the one thing that they could always do is go into business for themselves. And then the world is open. And, you know, most of your ultra wealthy are business owners. If you think about it, they're not really working for somebody else. CEOs make good money. but they don't always make the money. It's usually those who own their own business. So it opens it up for everybody.
Awesome. Got two more questions for you.
Oh,
I was done with the podcast. So what's one piece of advice or one form of emotional intelligence that you used during one of your struggles that helped you and you were able to get through it? So, because I want to give my audience another tool in their toolbox from someone else who's been through struggle. So what you got for my audience?
whew. I got more than one, but I'm going to hone it down to one. So I always say that every moment of every second of every day, you can change. And it's the truth. You can mess up. You may not have an eraser. And then I'm not saying there won't be consequences for the previous choices, but you can choose to change for the better or the worse, whatever suits your boat, whatever floats your boat. Change is inevitable, but prosperity and peace are intentional. So everybody's going to deal with change. Is how you deal with it.
Awesome. And when somebody wants to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
The easiest way is go to prosperouspivots.com. You can find me there. If all of my stuff is still under Nichole with an H, Nichole T Compton. So you can find me also. I hate to say Google me, but you can Google me. And if you are a business owner, or you're thinking about maybe starting a business, the number for my office is 502-509-7002. So prosperouspivots.com, Nichole T Compton.
Oh, well, thanks for being my guest today.
Oh, it was a pleasure. I think I could talk to you for hours.
Awesome. So I'm Lisa Manzo. This has been the Phoenix Mind Podcast, and I'll see you on the next episode.
This is the Phoenix Mind, where the fire refines. Together we rise, transform our lives. So subscribe.